Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be back again. How's everybody doing this evening? Can I hear you? Are we awake? There we go. That's great. So I am beyond thrilled for this panel discussion today. We are here in a bit cold but beautiful and sunny Florida. And most people don't realize about the powerful ecosystem for quantum that's here in the Sunshine State. So I am joined by Matt Smeglia with Quantum Coast Capital and also Florida Quantum, Dr. Alm from the Mag Labs at Florida State University, Dr. Badalama with Florida Atlantic University, which we'll hear some more great announcements that we heard from yesterday and a little bit more, and Dr. Arif from Florida, it's a long day. International University, FIU. I'm glad we're not talking football because I'm guaranteed that would actually be a much more aggressive conversation. But I want to start with Dr. Badalama. We had an amazing announcement yesterday where we talked about FAU bringing a D-Wave system onto campus. And so I just want to talk about, why is it so important to have that system on campus? We heard from Dr. Hassner, but I want to hear it from the Dean of Engineering, kind of from the student perspective and from the faculty perspective. Why is it important?
Thank you for this question. We have been, for the last couple of days, we have been all very excited with the decision of our President Adam Hassner, to invest in a major way in quantum technology. And not only by acquiring this, the Advantage 2 D-Wave computer, but also by the expansion of our faculty in this field. So we're going to have available for our faculty and students hands-on access on a quantum computer today, not 10 years from now. And this investment aligns very well with FAU's strengths in AI, in connected autonomy, and in computer science and engineering, and accelerates the vision for of the college for a integrated next generation computing. So we're very happy, and I just want to mention that this is not something that came in an ad hoc way. It was a deliberate strategy. Invest fast and early in transformative infrastructure, in AI first, and now in quantum, to elevate the university as a national leader in research innovation and workforce development.
Fantastic. We are so excited for this announcement collaboration. We're so excited to kind of work with you and your students in not just joining and building the talent pipeline, but also kind of building the community. I know this is going to be a resource for the Florida quantum ecosystem. So with that, Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you. You have been a force of nature with Quantum Coast Capital and Florida Quantum. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the vision of quantum in the entire state and the ecosystem?
Well, first of all, let's point out the fact that we're on stage with a lot of really smart people in Florida that are making all of this happen, right? I'm just sort of a bystander, if you will, on trying to help push this forward and communicate as much as we can. I think Florida just in general is really rich in the sense that it's such a business-friendly state. Mm-hmm. And when you start to think about the fact that we can really start attracting talent here in our state that will blossom because of the research and the developments that these schools are doing in our community, that's just one of those areas that I think is going to be really exciting to see over the next 5 to 10 years, especially now that there's a D-Wave system physically here in Boca Raton.
Absolutely, and it's not just the business climate, it's also the fact that you have these amazing universities and these amazing schools here to tap into the talent. So, and with that, I would love to kind of turn to each of our professors, and I'm going to start with you, Dr. Alm, and then same question for down the line. But you all, we heard yesterday about the Florida Alliance for Quantum Technologies, and each of your universities, as well as several others, joined it. What are your hopes for the new organization, for the Florida Alliance for Quantum Technologies? And as a new kind of part of the family of the Florida ecosystem, how can we engage? Dr. Alm?
No, absolutely. I mean, we are so excited at Florida State to be part of this big quantum initiative across the state of Florida. As the director of the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory, we've been in quantum for for over 30 years at Florida State, going all the way back to Paul Dirac. But in the last 30 years, we've been researching quantum materials there, and we're a very unique crown jewel for the NSF and the only national lab in the state of Florida. So we're a big resource for all the universities there, and we're really, really excited to partner with all of our sister schools. And I should say also, we have folks at UF also in our magnet lab fold. So we're really excited about this, and this is going to be a great opportunity for all of Florida.
Dr. Vadalama?
Yeah, I hope that the Florida Alliance for Quantum Technology becomes a connective tissue that turns individual investments into a capability and a capability for the whole state. And we can create mechanisms to share and amplify these kind of investments through the Alliance and accelerate workforce development by sharing curricula, sharing access to infrastructure. This also positions Florida in a very good place to compete for big federal grants, and the Alliance can bring teams together to do so. And finally, I think that this elevates the whole state, the visibility of the whole state, to a place where people consider the state of Florida as a serious hub for quantum technologies and not just an observer of what happens somewhere else.
Great. Dr. Sarvat?
Thank you. First of all, congratulations to Governor's Office and Secretary Kelly to form this alliance, because we have seen a lot of challenges are not capable of individuals to do. We are all researchers, we are trying our level best, but these are highly, highly complicated things. And now we have the full force of Florida working together to make these difference. But I'll take a minute more. I am from Florida International University, so for people from California and others, this is a little bit different. We have different names of universities, but we are governed by the same board of governors. So FIU is in Miami with around 55,000 students. We have an expense budget of $1.9 billion, and we have all the programs on quantum. In fact, we started hiring quantum professors way back, 5 years back, and we have people who are core into quantum, building those algorithms and other things, and we are partnering with everybody. In fact, with FAU, we have a leading quantum grant ongoing right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into that use case in a little bit. I'm excited to kind of share as we've talked about business applications. Matt, I want to turn to you because we have some folks that are creating startups in the audience. We have folks that are looking at commercializing quantum. You wear many hats in the States. I talked about Quantum Coast Capital. I talked about Florida Quantum. Talk a little bit about kind of the vision for Florida for commercialization specifically.
So Hillary and I, my partner in the business, have been working really hard on doing a lot of outreach. So if you could imagine, there's a lot of people in this room that know a fair amount of quantum, let's just say. But when you start talking to the mainstream audience of people, their faces just kind of go blank. And when we go out and we talk to the community as much as we can, it's important to really bridge this gap of being able to explain in a very articulate way, if you can, why this is so important for not only our communities, but essentially the rest of the nation, right? So when we start to think about Florida, we have an aging population. I start to think immediately about drug discovery or various pharmaceuticals, things like that. So that obviously is an attractor if you're a business or want to come to our state and create a business in something. There's a foundational structure that we're really starting to build with this ecosystem. And then when you start to think about a national security perspective, that's where it starts to really hit home for the country, right? If we're able to go out and support the research that these universities are doing, not only does it retain talent in our country, right? But we're also starting to develop things that might counteract something else that's happening around the world, i.e. China, Russia, right? So that's just an area. But again, if you're a startup and you're thinking about creating a quantum company, I could not stress more, now is the time to do it.
Absolutely, and Matt, as I started off saying, he's a force of nature. We met probably about 2 years ago, And what I loved is I didn't come to quantum, I came through fintech. And so I was not born and bred in it. And so hearing how his vision is to educate and those who are not the technical applicants to bring that connective tissue together to see what the power of these researchers and the research that's coming out actually means. And with that, I want to turn over to the universities. And I think this time I'll start with Dr. Sarvat. Each of your universities have a quantum initiative. And you're all looking at quantum in a different way. You know, is there like a high-level focus? I know each of you kind of say we do it all, but I'd love to kind of hear, you know, there's always a little prioritization. So what is kind of your focus?
Very good question. So I come back from industry. I was with Siemens for 10 years, then became a professor. So this has been a hallmark for FIU. They are hiring professors who understand both sides of the game, because if we are teaching students or we are doing research, they finally need a job. They need to really excel in whatever area they are doing. So that's our theme, that you have immersion of undergraduate students. So we have launched all different courses for them to learn and get the traits of it. Then they got to have hands-on experiments. So that is where the laboratories and others come into picture. So we established those. And finally, we got National Science Foundation and Department of Energy fund us a Q-Star program, where we are giving PhD support and everything to the students who want to really excel into the quantum arena. So it's a holistic approach, end-to-end approach, where we want to really give back to the community with talent what they expect to create an ecosystem.
Fantastic. Dr. Badalama, how about from the FAU perspective?
Yes, we have quite some interesting projects in the college. For example, we talked a little bit about the chronic kidney work that our professor, Dr. Munir, is doing, and using machine learning to do quantum machine learning for disease diagnosis. But this is not only one thing that we do. We try to find a roadmap so that we are able to use quantum computing for a broad class of medical diagnosis. Other focus areas that we have in the college include distributed optimization, distributed quantum computing, and applications of interest to us that primarily our faculty Zimbo Yang is working on is scalable entanglement scalable entanglement routing. And he also works on cross-domain optimization, which is particularly suited for the technology that we just acquired. And applications of interest to him are population genomics inference and RNA protein folding. And again, the applications is what drives most of our research. And some very, very interesting ones include intrusion detection and computer vision, all of this with quantum computing. And not to mention a big grant that we have from DOE, $4 million, that we lead. I think Arif is also a partner in that. And this is to bring quantum for security, for secure smart grid infrastructure. And I mean, when you have this kind of work, partnerships like that really do matter.
Absolutely. Dr. Ram, how about from the FSU perspective of the Mag Labs?
Yeah, so absolutely. Again, you know, I think it's just wonderful to hear from my colleagues about all of the great work that's going on across the state of Florida and how we can all, you know, strengthen things together. You know, our specialization is very multidisciplinary at FSU. You know, goes from chemistry to AI to physics to engineering. So we really have like people from all different groups working on our quantum initiative all together. So we're very excited about that. And the areas of specialization that we have, first of all, we have very good extreme environmental type of stuff going on at FSU. We have a wind tunnel. We have the world's highest field DC magnet at 45 Tesla. And you know, we all are able to go to extreme temperatures. And so that also is a very interesting thing to look at how quantum networks will behave in those kind of environments and how robust they can be. in those types of things. We also do have the capability to build qubits, and we're actually looking at floating qubits, which are really kind of cool for getting the noise floor down, because you have the thing actually floating above, a whole thing of helium. So we have incredible expertise, with the Magnet Lab being there, and cryogenics in environments where we can study how electrons behave in materials. So that fundamental materials piece is a big deal for us. And recently we've been really building up our capabilities in also the communication and optics space. We've been hiring some new faculty in that space because we're very, very interested in communication, and sensing also is a big area for us as well. So, and topological materials, we've been doing that for decades.
My God, I feel like basically it's almost, I should have asked you all, what do you not work on? Is it you have pharmaceuticals, you have material science, you had national security, grid resilience, cryogenics, it's the whole stack, it's sensing, it's networking communications, it's amazing to me, it really is. I'm looking at this, and we've talked about kidney disease, the chronic kidney disease detection that's happening at FAU, which I found that fascinating. And I know, Matt, you had mentioned kind of looking at the aging population and how to use quantum computing for drug discovery. I had some conversations over dinner last night with folks from Scripps who are talking about the importance of that, and working with the universities here and through the Florida Alliance for Quantum Technologies. I guess what I would look at is all of this needs talent. And that's the hardest thing to kind of find. What I have known, which was surprising to me, was how long it takes to train people. We heard a little bit earlier about the fear of the word quantum. So Matt, I'm going to start with you on the talent side of things. When you're like investing and trying to engage folks with Florida Quantum, how are you looking at like the education and talent side of it? And then I'll go to the folks who are actually doing the talent development.
No, I think that's a huge part of us as a fund where, look, VC in general is broken. And I can say that wholeheartedly. And when we aimed to approach our fund, it was really to be part of an ecosystem. And when we saw how fragmented some of the areas were of the quantum ecosystem, it was how can we push forward and help out in various ways. And one of the things that we launched at Quantum Beach was the fact that we are working with various universities. Obviously, we were part of the MOU being signed for Florida Alliance for Quantum Technologies. And we also were part of something from Quantum Coast Capital, where we were able to work with the state on doing diligence and pushing forward quantum activities. In December, we were part of launching Florida Quantum, which is more of a commerce side of investment and working with FACT on various efforts. Now, when we start to think about the workforce development side, that's where we have to start working with K through 12, where we have to start working with community colleges, because a lot of the things that people don't realize, these guys are bringing up tremendous breakthroughs. But who are the people that are going to pour the concrete, or plug in the systems in the rack, or be there at 3 in the morning to make sure these systems are maintained? And so I think that from the full range, we need to start really educating people. In terms of the US in general, one of our very close friends always talks about the fact that there's a lack of physicists that not only graduate in general every year, but then the amount of physicists that then leave our country and go to other countries where they may have been born from. So that's another huge issue, in the sense that, sure, we might be graduating X amount of physicists, but out of those, there's only a few dozen that are actually staying in the US.
Yeah, I remember when that statistic was brought up at Quantum Beach, and even my eyes kind of went.
I think it was like 44 physicists a year or something that stay in the US.
I still want to read out on that to make sure if it's true, but yeah, I hear you. It's still way too few that stay here in the US. Dr. Alm, how about I start with you on the talent side? Obviously, the Mag Labs with cryogenics, there's so much that goes into that. How are you guys looking at the talent development from that aspect?
So I think, Matt said it right. You've got to start at K through 12 and everything. And as an NSF National Lab, education is part of our charter. So we actually have outreach to the community in K through 12, in high schools, in undergraduate, all of this. We have programs all the way through, and also trades. We've gotten some grants in to bring lively college folks to FSU, and we're seeing that as a really important thing to develop that technical pipeline of, because there aren't enough, cryogenic technicians or mechanical technicians or electrical technicians to do, not just the work in quantum, but in general, building the buildings, like you said. And the other thing that, I'm very excited to say that we're working on our quantum certificate program at FSU. It's about this close to getting launched, is what our quantum leader told me yesterday. And that actually is going to be available to students across Florida, not just at FSU, for them to participate in that, is what Michael told me about this. So we're really excited about that and making that available to folks. And we're also, looking for industry to tell us how can we help you train the talent that you have, because we have a lot of ideas about even doing short courses and things like that. Hands-on stuff, because we do that at the Magnet Lab already with our users. We have a lot of user programs where we train people up and teach them about all kinds of things. So
one of the things that surprised me the most was kind of the length of time that took even our own company to train folks up. So if we can partner more with universities, it will shorten the amount of training, hopefully, once they come on board. Dr. Badalama, you guys have so many different institutes working on so many different things. How are you looking at talent as you engage in, especially with the D-Wave Application Academy? We've just decided to announce it, but how are we going to make this tangible?
From my perspective as a professor and as a dean, we have, when we try to develop talent, we have to start early and scale intentionally. And so at the undergraduate level, we focus on the foundations of engineering, computer science, physics, and then we engage students through project-based learning. And then not only this, but also we focus very much on co-curricular activities like hackathons and other competitions that I hope our academy that is as a plan in our MOU will help us trigger the interest early on. At the graduate level, things are shifting towards research-based learning, and we offer education for the whole staff, for the whole stack. It is interdisciplinary, I would say, starting from hardware, hardware-aware algorithms, software, and all the way up to applications. So, and to connect all these pathways, we have, again, we do also have a plan to offer a certificate starting this fall 2026, and a joint degree with the Department of Physics on quantum computing and devices. So that is very exciting for our students and for all the community at the university.
I love that. It sounds like you both are taking this from a multidisciplinary perspective. How about from an FIU perspective?
Well, all of the above. That's the easy answer, definitely. So my theme is always end-to-end solution, because like you rightly said, a lot of physicists are leaving the country. There's a reason for that, because we are unable to give them the job in their own area. They can still make money in the other areas, but not in this. So the ecosystem is so important for us, and that's what this alliance is also helping us to do. But at the local level, we made sure that students have the immersion at the ground level, but then they have hands-on experience, which is so important, and D-Wave is doing a very important part of that game to give them hands-on experience, and they can explore what they are getting into. But it all starts at a very young age, and I was talking to my kids that I'm going to this quantum conference, and they said, what is this? So I said, let me take you to Doctor Strange movie. and thanks to all those movies, there's new interest in all these things, and if we can just capture that interest and move it forward with the research. We are starting a new funded Department of Energy project with another California industry, so hopefully Secretary Kelly can bring that to Florida as well. So we need that ecosystem with the jobs and everything.
Yeah, I always laugh that my 10-year-old son, or I should say 11-year-old son now, he always jokes that quantum is a mother's mind, because I say yes, no, and maybe all at the same time. And so that's the way he understands quantum. Yeah. You guys have all brought up some amazing ideas, from the university perspective, but there are folks who are in startups and in companies out in the audience. How do we work better with you? And so I'll start with you, Dr. Alm.
So you mean in terms of how we can better serve industry as a
Well,
as
in a
whole,
public-private partnership, an industry-academic partnership, how can we work with you better?
So I think that we're really fortunate that we have just hired a superstar into our tech transfer world at FSU, and she's absolutely amazing, and she can put contracts together that are really, really good for business and the university. So we really I think it's important to get to the win-win. And she's also really good at coaching faculty to get there, because a lot of faculty, they're really deep in their research, and they may not get all the business aspects of things. And so, I mean, for me, I think the Magnet Lab has been doing incredible fundamental materials research for decades. But I think we have so much untapped potential to really partner with industry and help solve those problems. So one thing I just like to say is, come to us with hard problems you're trying to solve, and we can, work with you to figure out solutions to those things. We're really set up very well also for startups at FSU. We have this amazing building that just opened called the Ignite building, where you can actually get space from the university, and we have a whole lab set up. You have meeting space, you have all this kind of cool stuff just around the corner from the Magnet Lab and the College of Engineering. And then there's this amazing building also that just opened up called the Interdisciplinary Research Building, which is actually going to be the headquarters for our quantum initiative going forward at FSU. And that also is a building where folks can come in from companies to work with our researchers on quantum, on materials, on engineering development. So we're really, really excited about that. I'm happy to host people at the Magnet Lab too, but if you want your own space, we have these brand new spaces that are available too, so we don't have to move people around.
So you guys have an event coming up in the next couple months too.
Yes, yeah, we have an event happening in the April timeframe where we're getting a lot of folks up, especially students, because we really want to get the next generation going. And I should also say we have our annual open house, which is just a fun event to bring your family to the third week in February, which is fun. So if you're in the Tallahassee area that week on the Saturday, it's an incredible event. We have 10,000 people go through the lab. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Matt, you've been working on incubators and looking at how to kind of bring in quantum. I'd love to hear kind of what your views are and what you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're heavily engaged with Palm Beach State College on building out the Quantum Innovation Center. Mm-hmm. And one of the big ideas there is having a whole floor dedicated to startups, which I love, because we can have 2, 3, 4-person teams working side by side every day in a community space that's geared just towards quantum. And I think that what you guys have done is a really great aspect of paving the way for more quantum companies to come to the state of Florida and really start focusing on that commercialization aspect, right? Because as great as it is to talk about research all the time, we need to really start switching the gear over to focusing on how are these businesses going to scale, be sustainable, and be a real game changer. I want to see that ChatGPT moment come out of Florida, just as a sort of native Floridian, if you will. I would love to see that.
You're a little bit biased.
I'm a little bit biased, but when I really think about it, it's where can we excel and where can we start actually building businesses that are making a difference.
Well, we're only at 2 minutes left, so I'm going to pivot to the last question, and I'll start with you, Dr. Sarvat. We're starting off a new year. What makes you so excited about 2026? We're here next year or something. What will you hope to see?
Oh, a lot, but I'll be quick because we have very less time. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Bartolama also. Many of you don't know, she hired me first in SUNY Buffalo. So we are coming from the same
I'm from
area.
Syracuse, New York, so I love the fact that it all started in Buffalo.
And we have definitely grown old, but we have become wiser. The second word you heard here after quantum, do you remember? I was there for both days. It's the data. So all the people who are coming from industry, you have a leverage on us. So please come by. I'm also director of University Industry Partnership at FIU. Come by, we have, all of us have innovation hubs and everything. So that's my word for 2026. Let's make it happen.
I love that. Let's make it happen. Dr. Bartolama.
Yes, for 2026, what excites me is the shift from isolated efforts into unified ones. And I think through the Florida Alliance for Quantum Technology, through partnerships as what we have FAU with D-Wave and infrastructure investments like the recent one that we did. We bring universities, industry, and government together for shared goals, which is talent development, applied research, and economic impact. And I think that 2026 is meant for Florida to shine in these domains.
Oh, I love it. Broader shine. Well, we are at time now, but I am, oh, sorry, Matt, you want the last word?
One thing.
Got it. You got 5 seconds.
Quantum Beach 2026, October 22nd.
Okay, sounds perfect. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.